I'm the super daughter my mom carefully crafted. Starting in high school, she began sharing every detail of my life online. She built her network and fortune through me, even going so far as to push me into deals and reality shows. The moment I turned 18, I spiraled into depression and tried to end it all. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back at 15. Before my mom could launch into her grand speech about her perfect daughter plan, I cut her off. Mom, the whole show off your daughter trend is way too competitive these days. How about we take a different approach? Like creating the perfect mom brand? Or maybe becoming a streamer? Chapter 1. Olivia, are you sure this doesn't look weird? I glanced at the camera screen. My mom stood there in a sleek, vintage-inspired dress, her makeup subtly done, trying to look effortlessly perfect. No, it looks great, I replied with a calm smile. She fidgeted nervously, the same way I had back in my last life, the first time she shoved me in front of the camera. My mom used to be a washed-up Hollywood actress. She never made it big, a sore spot she could never quite let go of. So when I was born, she decided to make me her redemption story. Her plan? Turn me into an influencer. If I could break into the entertainment industry, maybe I could reignite her faded dreams of stardom. And in my last life, she succeeded. She turned me into a super daughter, a viral sensation with millions of followers. By the time I transitioned to acting, one breakout show turned me into a household name. Sponsorship deals poured in. The family reality show we did became a cultural phenomenon. Fans worshipped our perfect, happy family. But no one knew the cost. No one knew the deals my mom made behind closed doors, trading me for favors and opportunities. I fell into depression. When I finally told her, she sneered. Depressed? Over this? Please. If it were me, I'd be thrilled to have all this attention. If you're famous, that's all that matters. Do you know how many girls would kill for this kind of opportunity? Even on the day I tried to end it all, she was on the phone laughing with the producer, negotiating another deal for me. When she hung up, she turned to me with that same cold indifference. Stop playing dead. You've got a meeting with producer Lee tomorrow. Don't embarrass me. I stared at her numb. Am I even your real daughter? I asked. Of course you are. She bent down, grabbed my face, and hissed. And because you're my daughter, you owe me. Olivia, do you know how much pain I went through to have you? 10 months of carrying you, hours of labor. You owe me everything. That night I broke. I jumped. But when I opened my eyes again, I was 15, just one wall away. I could hear her in the living room, passionately pitching her perfect daughter plan to my dad. Before he could agree, I stepped out of my room. Mom, I interrupted. Everyone's already doing the whole my kid is a star thing. It's too overdone, too competitive. She turned to me startled. Why don't we try something new? Let's build the brand of the perfect mom instead. I smiled innocently. Think about it. If it works, you'll be the next big influencer, way bigger than some washed-up actress. Her breath hitched, and her hands trembled with excitement. I could tell I had her hooked. Chapter 2. It didn't take long for my mom's perfect homemaker videos to go viral. She filmed herself cooking in designer dresses and cleaning the house with perfect hair and makeup. The internet ate it up, but not in the way she'd hoped. The comments were brutal. Who cleans in a cocktail dress? This is so fake. She looks ridiculous. Total tryhard. Nothing about this is real. My mom, who had the temper of a bull, was furious. In my last life, one sarcastic comment from me was enough to earn a slap, so hard it damaged my hearing in one ear. Now these comments had her seething. She was ready to jump online and go to war with her haters. But I stopped her. Mom, being an influencer means dealing with criticism. It's part of the job. They're just jealous. Once you blow up, they'll be the ones eating their words. She gripped her phone, her anger giving way to hesitation. Are you sure? She asked, her voice uncertain. Positive. I was just repeating the same words she'd fed me in my last life, back when the hate targeted me instead of her. To drive the point home, I pulled up some old scandals from now famous celebrities. See, they all went through this. It's just a phase. Her eyes lit up as she scrolled through the examples. She muttered to herself, they're just jealous. They're just jealous. Crisis averted. But when I missed the perfect angle for one of her shots, her face darkened. That look, cold, calculating, was always the precursor to her violent outbursts. I ignored the tension and casually smirked. "Smile, Mom," I said, pointing the camera at her. "We're live." Instantly, her expression changed. She plastered on her polished, warm smile, ready to charm her growing audience. Hundreds of viewers tuned in. Some praised her, but others kept up the criticism. One comment stood out. "That necklace looks like a cheap knockoff. Total fake." 3. I deliberately read the comment out loud. My mom, who was chopping vegetables at the time, froze. Her hand jerked, and the knife nearly nicked her finger. Her face flushed red, and then pale, and she forced a shaky smile. "What kind of nonsense is that? Of course it's real. I don't wear fake jewelry." After all, her whole persona was built around the image of a classy, affluent housewife. Every detail of her brand was curated to exude luxury. Admitting otherwise was out of the question, but the commenter wasn't giving up. They kept spamming the chat, their repeated accusations dominating the screen. My mom couldn't take it anymore. She abruptly ended the live stream and, without warning, slapped me across the face. "Why the hell would you read that out loud? Are you stupid?" I bit back the sting on my cheek and let a few tears fall, playing up the helpless daughter act. "I'm sorry, Mom. I really thought your necklace was genuine. I just wanted you to shut them up and show everyone how wrong they were. It could have boosted your popularity." My mom froze mid-rant, her expression shifting as she mulled over my words. Then, as if flipping a switch, she softened. She reached out to pat my head gently. "My smart Olivia," she cooed. "Mom was too quick to blame you. You're right. You're such a clever girl." That afternoon, she didn't pester me to film more videos. But as I swept the living room, I saw her rushing out the door, her purse in hand and a credit card tucked between her fingers. The next day, a brand new sparkling necklace adorned her neck. In her latest video, she couldn't resist drawing attention to it, her fingers grazing the pendant in a way that seemed casual but was anything but. I watched from the sidelines, a cold smirk tugging at my lips. For a middle-class family like ours, trying to pass as a wealthy socialite wasn't going to be easy or cheap. As expected, the video blew up. Plenty of viewers gushed over her gorgeous new necklace, while my mom basked in the praise. Scrolling through the comments with a smug grin, my dad came home. The moment he stepped through the door, he roared, "Sharon, what the hell did you buy with my card? You spent $8,000. 4. My mom jumped, startled by his outburst. "What are you yelling for? It's just a necklace," she snapped defensively. My dad, a regular office worker, had been saving that money for months. His dream was to finally buy himself a car. Now it was gone, and he was livid. That night, the house echoed with their shouting. It wasn't until my mom broke into tears and promised to return the necklace that my dad finally calmed down. She sat on the couch afterward, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. When I walked over, she pulled me into an uncharacteristic hug. "Olivia," she sniffled, "why is my life so miserable? If only I hadn't married your father." She said it all the time. How my dad had ruined her dreams of stardom. If she hadn't gotten pregnant with me, she wouldn't have been forced into marriage. She wouldn't have spent her life stuck as a housewife. I lowered my gaze, my expression cold. "Then get a divorce." I spoke softly, almost sweetly. "Once you become a famous influencer, he'll be the one begging you to take him back, won't he, Mom?" She didn't respond, but I could tell my words had planted a seed. In the end, she didn't return the necklace. Not only that, before my dad could cancel the credit card, she managed to splurge on a brand new designer handbag as well. She loved the attention, the compliments, the envy. Her viewers showered on her in the live stream chat. Her growing audience fueled her ego, making her increasingly dismissive of my dad's escalating frustration. When he finally snapped and demanded she return the items, or he'd file for divorce, my mom slammed her hand on the table. "Fine, let's get a divorce." And just like that, they did. She walked away with a settlement and full custody of me. My mom's confidence in me skyrocketed after that. As we packed up and moved out, she was practically glowing with ambition. "Olivia," she said, her voice filled with determination, Everything depends on you now. You're so smart. I know you'll make me the biggest influencer out there." I smiled at her, my expression soft and sincere. "Of course, Mom. You're my everything." I would make sure every step she took, every decision she made, brought her closer to her downfall. Step by step, I'd destroy the woman who destroyed me. 5. I was only 15. Between helping my mom film videos and managing her social media accounts, I also had to juggle school. At one point, she even suggested I drop out to focus entirely on helping her career. But I convinced her otherwise. "Mom, if I go to college, I can study marketing and social media management. I'll be able to help you become the biggest influencer out there." She wasn't well educated. Her short-lived acting career had started when she was barely out of high school. That lack of knowledge made it easy to manipulate her. When I pretended to be concerned, frowning as I mentioned the recent dip in her video views, she flew into a rage. "Then figure it out. Do something," she snapped. I put on my best scared daughter act, nervously fumbling with my phone. My elbow accidentally hit the screen, scrolling to a live stream. The stream featured a woman dancing provocatively, her movements exaggerated and suggestive. Her short dress revealed long, pale legs, and every move seemed calculated to draw attention. My mom made a face of pure disgust. But then, a virtual firework exploded on the screen. One of the platform's most expensive gifts. "That's the $1,000 gift," I said casually. The streamer's voice turned syrupy as she thanked her big spender in the chat, calling him boss with a coy giggle. My mom's jaw dropped. "Wait, people actually make money doing this? ##02 ##." "Of course," I replied smoothly. "And it's not just a little money either." I quickly broke down the math for her. After the platform and management take their cut, the streamer still gets about $300 from that $1,000 gift. Then, I added with a calculated pause, "But for someone like us, without a management team taking a share, that'd be at least $500. Her eyes widened. Until now, my mom's wealthy housewife persona had brought in absolutely no income. She couldn't stand promoting cheap products. But the high-end brands didn't want her either. She'd been burning through the divorce settlement money, with nothing to show for it. That night, I noticed a few new items in her online shopping cart. Fishnet stockings, a deep-cut red dress, and a pair of stiletto heels. Over the next few days, my mom avoided live streaming while I was awake. Maybe she was embarrassed, or maybe she didn't want me to see. But the cheap walls of our rented apartment did little to muffle the blasting music late at night. The noise got so bad that I opened a nearby streamer search on the app, and immediately found her channel. She looked good, I had to admit. Her youthful features and sharp bone structure were what had caught a talent scout's eye years ago, landing her that brief stint in showbiz. But her temper had always been her downfall. When one of her viewers sent a gift and suggested she lower the neckline a little, her expression darkened. She lashed out at him, calling him a pervert. A few seconds later, her live stream was suspended for violating the platform's rules. I couldn't help but laugh. The next day, as I filmed her latest video, I casually brought up the incident. "Mom, I happened to stumble across this streamer yesterday," I said. "She wasn't even half as pretty as you, but she had so many fans." I pulled up the streamer's profile and played a video of her thanking viewers for their gifts. The screen lit up with virtual fireworks and hearts. Mom scoffed, her disdain practically dripping. "She's just trashy. All she does is act like a slut." I smiled. "But she's making money, isn't she? Once she's saved enough, she can just quit and move on to something else. No harm done." She looked skeptical. "You think that's possible?" "Of course," I said confidently. I even dropped the names of a few celebrities who had been rumored to have sponsors early in their careers. "They all had people talking about them in the beginning," I said. "But now they're stars, and no one dares bring it up anymore." My mom was too easy to persuade. Or maybe she was just too greedy. The fantasy I painted for her was irresistible. That night, she asked me to set up the lighting for her stream. She adjusted the neckline of her dress, pulling it just low enough to reveal a hint of cleavage. "How do I look, Olivia?" she asked, her voice tinged with nervous excitement. I gave her a thumbs up. "Perfect." To my surprise, the live stream went well. No one sent expensive gifts, but the steady stream of smaller ones still left her cheeks flushed with satisfaction. She even seemed flattered by the inappropriate comments flooding the chat, taking them as compliments. When the live stream ended, she grabbed my hands, her eyes shining with excitement. "Olivia, you were right. You're always right. I just knew my daughter would help me succeed." I smiled back at her. "Of course, Mom. That's what daughters are for." 7. My mom had become addicted to the attention she was getting from men. Her wardrobe grew bolder, her outfits more revealing, and her live streams less restrained. Before long, her follower count skyrocketed, and eventually, an invitation arrived from one of her biggest donors. She was ecstatic. "Olivia, what should I wear to meet him?" Ever since she started making money from live streaming, my mom hadn't held back on spoiling herself. She rented a fully furnished upscale apartment and filled her closet with expensive, stylish clothes. Compared to her, I, plain and unassuming with my black-rimmed glasses, looked completely out of place. She used to complain about how drab I looked and insisted on giving me a makeover. But whenever we went out together, and strangers complimented me, I could see the jealousy flash across her face. It was hard to believe. What kind of mother envies her own daughter? She banned me from using makeup, wearing dresses, or doing anything that might make me look too pretty. She even made the hairdresser give me thick, heavy bangs that shadowed my face. She was satisfied, and honestly, so was I. That evening, after finishing my homework, I set down my pen and said, "Mom, you shouldn't go." She frowned. "Why not?" "Mr. Raymond is so generous. He spent a ton of money on me." Mr. Raymond was her top donor, the man who'd been showering her with expensive virtual gifts. Over the past few weeks, he'd probably spent tens of thousands of dollars. He'd also added her on WhatsApp, where his messages were sleazy enough to make my stomach turn after just a glance. Calmly, I began reasoning with her. "If you meet him, you'll have to meet the others too when they start asking. And if you're too available, they won't feel the need to spend money anymore. The trick is keeping them chasing after you. That's how you keep the money rolling in." She hesitated, torn between greed and caution. The live streams continued, with Mr. Raymond sending even more gifts. Her resolve wavered again. What finally tipped the scales wasn't him, though. It was an invitation from a film director. My mom was over the moon. "Olivia, I'm going to be in a movie again." It was just a low-budget online film, and her role was that of an aging, washed-up woman of the night. But she didn't care. She was thrilled, and I smiled as I congratulated her. Later, I returned to my room and opened my email. The most recent message was one I'd sent a few days earlier, attaching a video of my mom from one of her live streams. Her suggestive poses had been a perfect match for the role. I deleted the email and smiled to myself. "Mom, I'm just helping you achieve your dreams. Don't disappoint me." 8. Filming the movie left my mom with no time for live streaming. She handed over her account and WhatsApp contacts to me before heading off to the set, practically skipping with excitement. Each day, she'd send me new clips from the shoot, urging me to forward them to her top donors. I found it tedious to send them out one by one, so I created a group chat and added all her big spenders in one place. Apparently, this wasn't the kind of attention they were expecting. One by one, they cursed me out, left the group, and then blocked my mom's account entirely. Problem solved. Now I didn't have to waste time sending out videos. When my mom came back from filming, she discovered that all her donors had disappeared. She was furious. Her hand shot out, ready to slap me, but I cut her off. "Mom, I did this for your own good." She froze. "What do you mean?" "Think about it," I said, keeping my voice steady. "You're back in the entertainment industry now. Do you really want to keep getting tangled up with these men? If you become famous again, this kind of thing could ruin you. I'm just helping you make a clean break, so you can focus on acting." She stared at me, lost in thought. Finally, she nodded slowly. "You're right, Olivia. You're absolutely right. I'm going to be a big star. I can't afford to associate with those men anymore." Muttering about her bright future, she retreated to her room. I smiled and closed the recording app on my phone. I would sever every path she had, one by one. 9. Because of my words. My mom deleted all her streaming accounts, seemingly cutting ties with her past. But her provocative videos were still popular. Occasionally, I'd see her face while browsing videos. She stayed busy, sending resumes to various production teams. After several failed auditions, my mom got nothing. At her age, she couldn't play youthful leads, only mother roles. But she wasn't willing to accept that. After repeated failures, my mom realized she was running out of money. The high income from streaming had made her accustomed to lavish spending. Without the streaming income and occasional gifts from top gifters, my mom's wallet was empty. She threw several tantrums because of this. I tentatively suggested, "Why don't you start streaming again?" My mom's face changed. "No. I finally got out. I can't go back." I knew her too well. She couldn't resist temptation. Finally, when she saw a bag she wanted but couldn't afford, my mom decided to start streaming again. But it wasn't that simple. Last time, I offended all her top gifters, and the audience for provocative streamers was small and familiar. Shortly after starting, she was bombarded with insults. The comments were especially harsh. She cried, apologizing to the gifters. She looked beautiful even when crying, like a delicate flower. Some softened and sent her gifts. My mom stopped crying, deliberately pulling her neckline lower. She coyly promised extra perks for the top gifter. This made some viewers go wild, sending gifts like crazy. I watched as Mr. Raymond, whom my mom had previously rejected, returned to the top of the gift leaderboard. My mom was both surprised and delighted. After the stream, she locked her door, probably preparing the extra perks. 10. After the previous incident, my mom no longer trusted me with her social media. She personally handled all interactions with gifters. I didn't mind using my long and used account. I found Mr. Raymond and sent him my mom's recording. I sincerely wrote, "I'm just a concerned bystander who doesn't want to see you deceived by this woman." Mr. Raymond didn't reply, but I saw the read receipt. Men are petty, especially someone who had been rejected by my mom. I didn't believe he'd forgive her easily. Sure enough, late at night, I was awakened by my mom's scream. She looked like a madwoman, barging into my room, her sharp nails digging into my shoulders. "What do we do, Olivia? What do we do?" I barely woke up, seeing my mom's phone screen playing a video. My mom completely naked, dancing provocatively, every private part exposed. The video was posted by Mr. Raymond, the top gifter. His caption was mocking, "Refused to meet, but look at this." His move caught even me off guard. My mom kept repeating, "What do we do?" She screamed, "I'm ruined, my image is ruined. How can I act again?" The video kept playing, the explosive visuals and music nonstop. I felt a twisted satisfaction. "So you can break down over this, Mom? Then why, in my previous life, when I was blackmailed and humiliated, did you tell me it was no big deal?" 11. Although the video was quickly taken down, my mom's popularity soared. Her streaming account gained tens of thousands of followers, with comments all asking for the video. The web movie she had filmed also took advantage of the buzz and was released. The director shamelessly mentioned my mom's name, cheekily captioning, "Come watch Miss Kayla's dance." Though many criticized him for riding the wave, his goal was achieved. The low-budget movie became a hit upon release. My mom gained even more followers, all praising her for her authentic performance. She was furious. She didn't dare to stream on her main account, resorting to using a smaller one to argue with the lewd commenters. Unexpectedly, due to the movie and the leaked video, my mom received more collaboration offers, but they were all indecent. My mom was both excited about getting roles and conflicted. She wanted to be a big star, admired and praised by many, but the offers she received were all vulgar and lowbrow. She asked me what to do. While working on my homework, I casually replied, "An adult star is still a star, Mom. Isn't that what you always said? Even if it's a lowbrow film, you can make money and gain fans, then eventually switch to something else." My mom looked confused. Did I say that? Did I really say something like that? I smiled. In my previous life, she did say that. When my videos were exposed and my reputation was ruined, my mom said, "It's just a video, it won't kill you." If no serious production wants you, why not switch to something lowbrow? Questioning my mom, understanding my mom, becoming my mom. I closed my notebook and nodded at her. Mom, this is your last chance. If you refuse, you'll never get into the entertainment industry again. Think it over. I'm your daughter, and everything I say is for your good. I wouldn't harm you. 12. These were the exact words my mom told me in my previous life. Every single word I remembered clearly, and for a long time, I believed them. So when my mom hesitated for a long time before finally deciding to accept those offers, I wasn't surprised at all. In my previous life, she was willing to sacrifice her own daughter for her so-called career. She even said that as long as she could become famous, it didn't matter how many beds she had to climb into. I knew then that in my mom's eyes, dignity didn't matter. As long as she could succeed, she would do anything. She even accepted the lewd fantasies people had about her. She recorded a video, happily announcing she was going to act, asking her fans to look forward to it. The comment section was filled with filth, making me feel dirty just looking at it. Some curious people looked up the productions my mom was joining. They found they were all low-budget or web series. My mom's roles were invariably revealing and sexy. They laughed, eagerly waiting for her performances. Then I saw a message in our family group chat. It was from my cousin. He posted a picture of my mom tagging me. Olivia, is this Aunt Kayla? In the picture, my mom was wearing a strapless top, deliberately bending over for the camera. The group chat exploded. Some said it wasn't her. Others said the picture was disgusting. Even my grandfather joined in, sending several voice messages, scolding my mom for being indecent. When my grandfather called to question me, I cleared my throat. As soon as I answered before he could say much, I said tearfully, "I'm sorry, Grandpa, I couldn't stop her." He knew his daughter well enough. Without saying another word, he hung up. I guessed he was going to contact my mom, but my mom wouldn't listen to him. Soon, my grandfather sent more voice messages in the group, furious. She can do whatever she wants. I'll pretend I never had this daughter. I'm cutting ties with her completely. Estranged from her family, her dignity shattered. The fate I suffered in my previous life was now happening to my mom. 13. My mom seemed to enjoy this lifestyle. No matter how revealing or vulgar the script, she could perform without batting an eye. Even when male actors groped her during filming, my mom didn't mind, as if she was used to it. At home, my mom dressed scantily. While I worked on my studies, she occasionally made phone calls. If I was close enough, I could hear different men's voices. After a few flirtatious words, my mom would change clothes and go out. When she returned, she looked exhausted. Soon, she would have another role or commercial to shoot, requiring her to leave again. It was a familiar routine. In my previous life, when my mom treated me like a commodity, I lived the same way. The difference was my mom seemed to enjoy it. She truly believed what she said. As long as she could become famous, it didn't matter how many beds she had to climb into. But I didn't want that. I had my own dreams, my own life to live. In my previous life, when my mom forced me into the entertainment industry, she never asked what I wanted. She didn't know my grades, my dreams. Of course, she didn't care about me, so why would she care about those things? I closed my book, looking at the countdown to the college entrance exam on my phone. My future depended on that day, but I knew my future had already changed. I was no longer the caged bird of my previous life. I had a new life ahead of me. 14. The college entrance exam went smoothly. I received an acceptance letter from my dream university, and my mom was pleased with her growing popularity. She casually mentioned being satisfied with my choice of university. Mr. Justin praised you when he visited us. Mr. Justin was my mom's latest benefactor. Looking me up and down, my mom said, "It's good that the school is far away." I knew what she meant and saw the wariness in her eyes. I smiled. I think it's great too. Never seeing my mom again would be wonderful. I boarded the train to my new life, starting my university journey. One day, while watching a show with my roommate, a sleazy ad popped up on her computer. It was my mom's face. She clicked her tongue, annoyed. It's her again. How many trashy ads has she done? Every time it's something different. I didn't know whether to laugh or feel disgusted. But holding my phone, I felt the reality of my rebirth for the first time. The pain and torment of my previous life were gone. Those illegal websites would no longer have my videos. That was enough for me. 15. In my third year of university, I secured an internship at a multinational company. My roommates were thrilled for me, and we planned a celebratory dinner. At the restaurant, a news report played on the TV. It reported a recent crackdown on a drug trafficking ring in the entertainment industry, with all involved arrested. Among them, Ms. Kayla was also charged with distributing explicit content, adding to her crimes. I rested my chin on my hand, watching the blurred-out woman on the screen. Even with the censorship, I recognized her. It was my mom. Her skin was sallow, her face gaunt and lifeless. She was no longer the once popular adult star. All her films were taken down, and her name became a banned term. This was the result of her own downfall. After graduation, I returned to my hometown. I made a point to visit my mom in prison. She looked mentally unstable, her coarse, yellow hair piled on her head like straw. As soon as she saw me, she started banging on the glass, screaming, "It's you, it's you! You ruined me, you!" I smiled faintly, picking up the phone. I heard her shrieking. Even without her response, I spoke into the receiver. "Mom, when I died in my previous life, did you regret it?" "I guess you didn't. So now that you're like this, I don't regret it either." This was her deserved fate. I said nothing more, hanging up and leaving the prison. Back in the city, a little girl bumped into me. She was about 5 or 6, her round face full of fear. Her mother quickly came over, apologizing while holding her. I smiled, saying it was okay. As the young mother walked away with her daughter, the little girl turned and waved her chubby hand at me. I couldn't believe it, but I felt a pang of envy. So there are mothers who truly love their children in this world.